With the advent of Dragon Ball Super and the introduction of Universe 6 and the fact that there are benevolent Saiyans, one has to wonder about whether or not there are Namekians in Universe 6, just like there are in Universe 7, and more importantly, are the Namekians of Universe 6 the opposite of their Universe 7 counterparts, which would make them a very evil and sinister kind of race. Well, on this video, I want to have a discussion about not just that possibility, but also the history of evil Namekians in Dragon Ball, because there's tons of very interesting factoids that you may not know, as well as some misinformation that has been spread around that I want to put the kibosh on. So, let's talk about evil Namekians next. Hey guys, if you want to hear my deconstructions and breakdowns of other things that I love like movies, TV, wrestling, and life, then be sure to check out my brand new channel, World of Geekdom. I will leave a link down below. Now, in Dragon Ball, the vast majority of Namekians, at least the ones that we know from Universe 7, are inherently good people. They are a peaceful race who don't really go looking for trouble. But in Dragon Ball, we have seen a couple of examples of evil Namekians, the first of which being, of course, Demon King Piccolo. But that one has an asterisk by it because Demon King Piccolo was not inherently an evil Namekian. In fact, he was a completely different kind of life form in that he was birthed by the god of Earth, Kami, otherwise known as the child of Katatsu, expelling the evil from his body and having it physically manifest into what would become Demon King Piccolo. However, what's interesting about Demon King Piccolo is that Demon King Piccolo was able to retain his Namekian abilities through his heritage and his bloodline. Case in point, the ability to hatch eggs and create children. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions in our community that has been going on for a very, very long time is the fact that people believe that Piccolo's children from Dragon Ball are Namekians, like drum, piano, tambourine, and that is in fact incorrect. That's another one of those classic examples of why you should not believe everything you read on Dragon Ball Wiki. Dragon Ball Wiki is wrong. The children of Piccolo are not Namekians. They are what's referred to as Mazoku. Now, a Mazoku translates to a demon clansman or a member of the demon clan. And it's really not a term that is used exclusively in Dragon Ball. Other animes such as Slayers have also used Mazoku. But the demon clans in Dragon Ball are different than Namekians. What is actually happening with Piccolo is when he is creating these children, it is in fact a polluted and demonic version of the Namekian way of giving birth. So even though the ability to hatch eggs is a Namekian trait, when Piccolo does it, because he is composed of pure evil, it's not Namekian, it's polluted, it is, perverted, whatever word you want to use. Bottom line is, drum, tambourine, piano, these are not Namekians. They are polluted, demonic, devilish creatures. And what's interesting about Dragon Ball is that it's stated that when you are killed by a demon, your soul becomes earthbound and you cannot enter the afterlife. Now, whether or not this was retconned, I'm not really too sure on that, but basically when Krillin was killed by Tambourine in Dragon Ball, he did not go to heaven, which is why Goku wanted to bring him back to life so badly, because he was stuck in limbo. Very interesting stuff. Now, the next example of an evil Namekian in Dragon Ball is in Dragon Ball Z Movie 4 with the introduction of Lord Slug. Now, obviously, Lord Slug is a movie villain and it's a different kind of continuity, not really part of the main series, but Lord Slug was pretty much created to be a copy of Demon King Piccolo. I mean, the ideas and the abilities that he has are very similar to Piccolo. It's just kind of the same concept and somewhat makes him a little bit one-dimensional. But Lord Slug is the first time we really hear the term Super Namekian, which is what they would refer to Piccolo and Kami's fusion when they went back to being the child of Katatsu later on during the Cell arc. The Lord Slug movie was the first time that we had heard the concept of a Super Namekian, which is said to be as strong, if not stronger, than a Super Saiyan. This is touched upon in the film, as well as in conversations with the Grand Elder of Namek during the Namek saga. Another interesting factoid is that it appears like the henchmen of Lord Slug are also demonic clansmen, based on the fact that one of them refers to Piccolo as a demonic clansman, Piccolo Jr., because he is the offspring of Demon King Piccolo. And that's very interesting to me because that implies that Lord Slug may have used the same tactic and technique to give birth to his children as Demon King Piccolo did. Even though it's not outwardly stated, it does seem that way. But also understand that the term Mazoku is not necessarily just inherent to these characters. Garlic Jr. and several other demons use that term. But clearly these are not Namekians at all. They're just a polluted, demonic race made up of pure evil. Now, after that, the idea of evil Namekians was never really talked about again until we get to the Dragon Ball video game universe, Dragon Ball Online, and Dragon Ball Heroes, which to me has some of the most interesting lore and new characters that are indeed evil Namekians. So there's a storyline in Dragon Ball Online where Mira destroys New Namek, and the surviving Namekians from planet New Namek come to Earth, and they stay in an area of Earth that's near King Piccolo's throne, near where he used to live, and for some reason the negative energy there corrupted these Namekians and made them evil, and that would lead to them creating an evil Namekian army, which was led by a warrior called Naraku, the Black Namekian, and would eventually team up with the Time Breakers and at one point create their own evil, demonic, eternal dragon known as Mr. Poco Poco, who looks like an evil version of Purunga fused with Mr. Popo. This is wacky Dragon Ball Online stuff that, man, Dragon Ball Online's crazy. So, the evil Namekian army in Dragon Ball Online is a combination of actual Namekians that were remnants of New Namek that had become evil, as well as the Mazoku mutants that I mentioned earlier in the video. But luckily, the Time Patrol came in and defeated them. Dragon Ball Online has so many cool storylines. So what do you think about that storyline in particular, about the evil Namekians coming to Earth and having a war with the Time Patrol? And do you think we'll see evil Namekians, possibly from Universe 6, but who knows, at some point in the future of Dragon Ball Super? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I like covering some of these topics that few others cover because they're fun to talk about, and exploring Dragon Ball lore is one of my favorite things to do. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Take care of yourself and each other.